And here's where I'm going to cap this conversation by saying this. Kyrie Irving is a superstar talent. And from a talent perspective, obviously, he's more valuable to me than James Harden. But I'd pay James Harden before I paid Kyrie Irving because James Harden's going to show up to play. Now, how good he's going to play when he arrives remains to be seen. But when the bus, listen, when the bus pulls into the loading dock area, I know he's going to be on it. So what I'm saying is, again, I'm not saying that I'd pay James Harden max dollars. I'm not saying that I'd pay, that's not what I'm implying. I'm talking about if I had one check to give out and it was to one of the two, the first person I'm going to give it to is the person that I know is going to show up to work. See, all of this stuff about, we can say what we want about James Harden, and there's no way around it. He forced his way out of Houston. The manner in which he did it, none of us applaud. Because when they said initially no, he showed up out of shape on purpose. That we can't excuse that. Nobody's excusing that. When he got to Brooklyn, I will remind you, when Kyrie hurt his ankle against Milwaukee, it was James Harden that went out there on one leg and tried in Game 7. He gave you all he had. He just didn't have much, okay? All right, then he comes back next season. No excuse. He still should have been in tip-top shape. That wasn't the case. And obviously, he ended up forcing his way out of Brooklyn. And according to Brooklyn, you know what? He told us one thing, especially Steve Nash, and then went behind our back and did another by forcing his way out after telling us he wanted to stay. But in the end, what I'm saying to you, especially with Daryl Morey in Philadelphia, we can rely on James Harden showing up to practice and showing up to the game. Now, he might be a headache in some people's eyes in terms of the perks he exercises and the liberties he takes, but it pales significantly in comparison to what Kyrie throws your way.
That's a unique comparison, Stephen A. I'll use the word unique. I have this question, Wendy, though. The rift that we saw at the end of the regular season, well, perhaps it seemed like it could have been a rift between Doc Rivers and James Harden. Are we past that? Is Doc completely good?
Yes.
It's a fair question to ask. I think Doc was doing what he felt the best thing that they had to do to win those games. And even at the very end of that series, it didn't always look like Embiid and Harden were on the same page. I think you can chalk that up to James Harden just not being in the top condition he needed to be in. So again, I'll say, I think everybody starts with a new page starting in training camp. But how is that going to go? And it's going to really be tied, because I know Embiid is going to show up and play at a high level.
Yes, of course.
He's in his prime.
Yeah.
He could have won the MVP in each of the last 2 years. I can't say the same about James Harden, and he's probably going to show up with a new contract. So I guess we just have to wait and see. I wish I could give you a stronger answer, Monica.
I can. Doc Rivers is not the most likable dude in the world for a point guard playing for him. Anybody would tell you that. Anybody would tell you that. I mean, the fact of the matter is, I love Doc Rivers. A lot of people who know him love Doc Rivers, and we all know the man can coach. But let's be clear. He's very, very, very hard on his point guards. He doesn't play. You are the floor general. You are the extension of the coach. You run the team. So the level of accountability he placed on your shoulders, dare I say, is significantly different than, say, a Mike D'Antoni would hold on your shoulders, or even a Kevin McHale might put on your shoulders. Or a Steve Nash. All right, these are the coaches that James Harden played for. And a Scott Brooks, when he first got into the league, they ain't Doc Rivers in terms of a willingness to embrace conflict. That is Doc Rivers, and he ain't apologizing for it to anybody.
But it sounds like what you're all saying is they put that behind them now. Currently, the Sixers have the 7th best odds to win the title, that according to Caesars in Vegas. And I need you all to just pace yourselves because it's draft day, and you all are going to be working it. So I especially settle down a little. Monica doing the interviews? I can't wait.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.